Hi, everyone.
Welcome to the birthday episode. By the time you are listening to this, if you listen to it,
when we upload it on Anchor and other podcast platforms,
it will be Hannah's birthday.
Only 19.
Woo. Technically, her birthday is in about 6 hours. 5 hours and 53 minutes as of right this moment.
And that's Pacific time.
Yes. So,
you
can start your celebrations in the time zone that you are in.
Yes.
That way it'll elongate.
It's National Hannah Day.
International Hannah Day.
Yes.
We have listeners across the ocean, Hannah.
Across the pond, you want to say?
Across the pond. That's a horrible accent.
Anyway.
Hi, Paul.
Anyway, so we've adapted sort of our yearly birthday tradition for me into a podcast format this time. So Mom, Cassie, for those who aren't related to us, she usually writes a cheesy birthday message.
That always makes her cry.
Always makes me cry, or at least tear up. And so she's actually recorded herself reading this message this year. So you guys can listen along at home. And I don't know what it says. I'm not going to listen to it.
She's not listening to it right now. She's going to listen to it on her birthday.
/ read it, because I would rather read than be spoken to.
I do have it written. I can't speak. I do have it written down, and I'll probably post it on our Facebook page as well with,
Yeah, you can just share it.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that's the plan. So without further ado, the 2021 Hannah's 19th birthday cheesy mama message.
Dear Hannah, I can't believe you are almost 2 decades old. 19. Just wow. Where does the time go? We have traveled the world together, experienced so many twists and turns in life, but you have always been my brave, bold girl. I wish you could see yourself through my eyes, see the strong, resilient, wonderful woman that you are. The confidence you project has always astounded me, and even though I know you doubt yourself and drown in sadness on occasion, damn those depression genetics, you always manage to claw your way back up. Your smile lights up the room, your gentle spirit warms the heart, your laughter makes even the most stoic of people break into a grin. I know the last few years have been tough for you, but you've handled it all with a grace and understanding that far exceeds your years. Watching you blossom into this wonderful creature has been my greatest honor as your mother. Just know this, even though you're totally a grown-up now, I will always be here for you, to protect you, to guide you, to celebrate your successes, and to aid you through your failures. I know you're at a crossroads in your life and you're not sure what's next for you, but just know this, I'm 1,000% behind you. You're not alone. Just keep being you, nerdy and silly and loving and hilarious and well-spoken and marvelous, dramatic and intelligent and soft-hearted and quick-witted. I'm so proud of you, and I'm so happy I was chosen to be your mama. Happy birthday, Bug.
So we're jumping in post-recording of this episode because we forgot to add some information we found out regarding last week's episode.
Yeah, just a little quickie. So in last week's episode, we talked about my favorite movie, Forrest Gump, and I talked about hating the book and whatever, and Hannah had asked, did the book come first or did the movie come first? And so I did some research, and the book is by Winston, oh gosh, didn't write his name down.
Winston something.
Yeah. And I think it's Groom, Winston something. And it was published in 1986, and the movie was in 1994. So the book did come first, so I'm really, really happy that the screenwriters took that a different direction. Word up. That's why they won an Oscar. Anyway, I said word up like I'm from 1990.
Just like Forrest Gump.
Woo! He didn't say word up. Also, another famous YouTuber made a video this week that talked about millennials.
Oh.
And she referenced a website and I Googled it because something that she said was that millennials were born in the late 70s. And I was like, hold up. I've always read early 80s and I'm in the late 70s. So I went and I Googled it, and one particular website said that millennial generation starts in 1977, which is the year of my birth. And I freaked the fuck out because it was like, I am not a millennial. It's like, I'm not a boomer, but opposite, right?
I didn't know you care. And then she's like, I don't care about labels. And I'm like, yeah, you don't care about labels because now you're a millennial.
I really don't want labels now. But then, so I posted about it, and then all my friends were chiming in, like, I've always heard 1981, 1982 are the millennials. I've never seen anything that was late 70s, so I gave them the website, whatever, and then another friend who's a teacher in Texas, hi Travis, says, this is the only website that I will ever reference about millennials. This guy's done it, he's a professor, he's done extensive research into the different generations, starting way back, blah, blah, pre-baby boomer, all these things. So, so I looked at that, and it actually says that 77 is still Gen X. and then I had some other friends that were saying we, born in the late 70s till 81, 82, are kind of the Zennials, the Gen X millennial hybrid between the two. So you're a micro generation. I guess so.
I am also a micro generation, I think.
Yeah,
because
you're on the cusp.
I'm a Zennial, right? Because I'm not young enough for this whole like Gen Z thing, but I'm not old enough to be a millennial.
Yeah, it's so sad, or so awesome.
I don't really care.
No, I don't care either. It just is what it is. I thought it was funny. Also, this is the last thing. This came out in the wash this week. My mom did not remember when I talked to her last Sunday after she listened to our episode. She didn't remember washing my mouth out with vinegar. I was like, you totally did. I remember this. And then she said, I think it kind of came to her because she was like, the reason why I used vinegar was because she almost died. She's being dramatic. I almost died when my mom washed my mouth out with soap. Her story is they were leaving their house and driving along in my hometown, and my grandma hit a bump in the car, and that was back before seatbelts were required for everyone in the car, and I guess my mom hit her head on the roof, and she said a dirty word, but not even a true dirty word, like crap. Not even that. She'll have to reference it. I didn't write that down, but... And then her mom didn't say a word. She just made the block and went back to their house and into the driveway and carried her inside and stuck the bar soap in her mouth. She's like...
Thank you for never doing that to me. You were always just like, you're going to say that, say it at home and in where I can't hear you.
Don't get me in trouble. True story. Awesome.
Okay, listen to the rest of the episode. We just wanted to jump in after we recorded it.
Enjoy. All about Hannah.
Woo!
Since we are not crying... because you haven't actually heard it yet. Let's carry on.
Okay.
So, I'm kind of in charge this week. Not unlike every other week, but I've been the one prepping this week because Hannah's just been busy living this week.
Procrastinating college classes.
Yeah, which, if you've ever been 19 in college, you get it. That's when I dropped out of college. So, yes.
Hey, technically, when I'm gonna drop out too.
Yeah, we're such a bunch of quitters. And yet, I'm like freaking successful as all get out right now, so.
It feels so good to be so young and be successful.
Many have to chime
successful.
in. Anyways, so our format this week is gonna just be me sharing some stories. Hannah, of course, is gonna chime in, give her renditions of things too, or just, it's gonna be fun. All about my Hannah bug. So, fun fact, I didn't know I was having a little girl until February of 2002. She was born in March 2002. Every time I went for a sonogram, she was not cooperative. So, it was fine. I had just assumed I was having a boy because I didn't want a boy. No offense to the boys out there, but I didn't want my first baby to be a boy for some reason, and I just assumed that because God's a jokester, that's what I was going to get, a boy. But then the month before she was born, I had one last ultrasound. Well, it wasn't the one last. It was another major one because I had gestational diabetes, and they had to make sure everything was working properly. And it's when I found out that she was a girl, and I was so excited. Luckily, that ultrasound happened like the weekend before, or 2 weeks before my baby shower. So all the little church ladies and hometown women could go pink it up. Oddly enough, never was a true fan of pink, and didn't think that I would load my baby up in pink clothing.
You didn't?
I kind of did.
A lot of pictures, it was more like pastels.
Purple, greens, stuff like that too, yes, but...
Air quote unquote, girly colors.
But also a lot of pink. So, her birth itself was interesting. I still remember what I did the night before I was induced. I splurged on cheese fries at a local restaurant that I had not eaten for half my pregnancy because of the diabetes. And went to see the Mel Gibson movie, We Were Soldiers. Why do I remember that? I don't know. But my world was about to change. So, I won't get into the details of the birth story, but she came out just beautifully arranged. No cone head. She should have had one, but she didn't. She was beautiful. Some babies get all bruised and scratched up. Not Hannah. It was a glorious moment. The only funny thing I'll share during the birth was I had an epidural, and once I had the epidural, it was like a psychedelic freak show happening from my chest down. So I felt tingly everywhere, and I giggled the whole time. It was trippy. It was really funny.
It's like you were channeling my energy, because I'm a giggly I'm a giggly person.
Yeah. But yeah, it was crazy. Like I was kind of, you know how you are when you're kind of tingly, like when your foot's going to sleep or something.
Oh, pins and needles.
Yeah, pins and needles, but not unpleasant. It was strange.
Kind of the way my foot is right now.
Perhaps.
Where we're sitting.
Like maybe, like pop rocks inside your mouth,
but
under your skin. It was creepy weird.
Ew.
And so I would like scratch, lightly scratch myself, like my belly, my arms, whatever. Or not my arms, they were working. My legs. And it was like, when you watch a movie and somebody's tripping, like Look Who's Talking, the movie with the baby in utero.
Yeah.
And when she gets the drugs on board and the baby's like, woo, and like moving his hand in front of his face and it's like a trail. That's what it felt like. Like, if you can imagine what that would feel like. Like static. Yeah, but just trippy. And so half the episode's about the epidural. I always joked that they should hand those bad boys out at, like, month 3 of your pregnancy because it was fantastic. Not everybody has the same experience, but I had a great one. Anyways. But yeah, she shouldn't have been so pretty when she was born just because it was not the easiest delivery, but we got her here. I do joke all the time that she ripped me a new one. So that's some TMI you probably don't need. But we joke because her brother was a C-section baby. And so she will joke with him that he was a tumor baby and had to be cut out. And he'll say, at least I didn't rip mom a new one. And it's so true because I had a better experience recovering from my C-section.
Whose scars still itch occasionally.
Okay, we're not going to go there because technically they both do.
Ew.
Which one's easier to scratch? His. So yeah. Oh boy.
Ooh, before we get into it, for all of my astrology people, I should just say this.
Okay.
So, you have a big 3. Like your moon, your sun, and your rising sign, basically. Mm-hmm. So, the sun sign is basically the one everyone knows.
Right.
And then your moon sign is just where the moon was when you were born, and then your rising sign is just where I guess what planet was the highest at that point. I don't really know. But anyway, so I am a Pisces sun, I am a Pisces moon, and I'm a Leo rising. I also have a lot of water signs in my, like, birth chart, so I'm really sensitive.
I'll say. Yeah. It's really funny because, you know, you always hear that. What's your sign? You know, I'm a Capricorn, I'm a Pisces, I'm a whatever. And I always used to read my horoscopes just because, you know, why not? But I never really, like, sat down and studied that stuff. But now I follow a lot of people on Instagram and whatever that do. And it's really interesting. Maybe we should do a whole episode
Once
about...
you know, like, what all of your signs are and, like, your whole birth chart, it
Everything
makes a lot more sense and it's more realistic. Like, that's how you feel.
Yeah. I'm going to have to delve into this one. That'll be fun. Anyway, so... she was a sassy little thing, as you can probably imagine. At 3 months old, she was flirting with the ceiling fan because it was her best friend. And I have pictures about that. She walked early. She was only 9 months old. It was a freaky little thing too. I mean, she was ahead of the curve in every way possible. You know, she was taller than babies her age. She was heavier than babies her age. She was walking 4 months faster than babies her age, but so dramatic.
Nothing's changed.
Nope. Nothing's changed at all.
Except I'm a little behind the curve now.
No, not at all. She loved haircuts. Believe it or not, she didn't have hair for the longest time. I mean, she had hair, but not long enough to do anything with. She was probably 2 before it actually started getting some length on it. And whenever we cut it, she would flit around the place, flipping her hair. We would call it model hair, where I would say, do model hair, and she'd fling it in like a Pantene commercial. Pantene sponsor us. Anyways. But it was so funny. I have pictures of her throwing her hair.
Like, model walk, too. All over the place.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. And, like, just sassy as all
Isn't
get
that...
out.
Okay, isn't it crazy that as I've gotten older, that kind of need for attention has kind of died down a little bit?
But has it?
No, but you know what I mean?
I do know what you mean.
Like, I used to love being photographed and just, like, center of attention, everybody look at me. But now that my anxiety's taken over... I'm like, I'm
good.
I'm okay.
But you choose when you need and or want to be the center of attention, when you need and or want to be dramatic, when you need, so, you know, that's called growing up and self-control and picking and choosing your moments.
Mm-hmm. I'm still pretty flirty, though, even though I don't mean to be.
No, you get that from your mother.
I've read somewhere that if you giggle a lot, you aren't aware that you're being flirty when you're being flirty.
Yeah. And also having a semi-southern accent.
Do I have a southern accent?
You not so much, but I'm just saying me.
Oh.
Like flirty-wise, you don't even realize you're flirting until somebody's like, I like your ex. You know.
Well, fun fact, because the reason why I don't have an accent...
You lived all over the place.
Yeah, is like, my bio dad is in the Army, and so we moved around a lot. And then when we went to East Coast, we lived in Maryland for a little bit, people were talking about my accent, and I got self-conscious, like, okay, I'll just consciously make an effort to sound like the people around me.
And I have that tendency, I really do, and I always have. Like, when I went to visit Washington, D.C. for, like, a week and a half when I was in junior high, I came back and my accent was totally different, according to my parents. And then I realized that, so everywhere I went, as long as my best friend had a kind of a Midwest hybrid kind of accent, and the way she said certain things, just being around her for, you know, a matter of days, I started picking up the way she said certain things. So it's just something that I naturally do.
I think my accent is best described as a stereotypical American accent.
Yeah, I think so.
That British people are like, okay, I'm going to talk an American accent. I'm going to talk like this.
Yeah, perhaps. I don't know.
It's really weird to analyze your own accent if you can't really You weren't aware that you're speaking with an accent.
I don't hear a Southern accent in you, and maybe it's just because, you know, A, you may not have one.
I wanted to fit in a lot. So.
But B, maybe my ears just don't, well, I mean, it's definitely not as thick, even if you have one.
Oh, no.
Me, when I get upset or tired or I've been on the phone with my mom or something like that, then that's when the stuff comes out. Or if I get really excited, certain words come out.
I think I do that too.
Yeah, so.
But I don't think I've ever been, like, super angry or super tired enough recently to have that kind of...
You say kind of. Yeah, exactly.
But if I do say words that are more Southern sounding, it's totally subconscious.
Well, it's, yeah.
I'm not controlling it. If I wanted to
happens.
sound Southern, I could sound Southern really easily because I grew up in Texas and...
Exactly. But yeah, she's always had a flair for the dramatic. She's always loved music. She's always loved movies. We always were watching something. She was always obsessed with something. And that's never really changed. The bird is very loud today. But that's okay, because we're celebrating Hannah's birthday. So I have a really embarrassing story that I know you don't remember because you were only 18 months old, but it occurred to me this week while I was trying to come up with funny stories. I have a slew of them, obviously, but I can only record so many. So we lived in Oklahoma City, Oklahoma, when you were about 18 months old. She had a cup of apple juice, like a sippy cup of apple juice, that went missing. And...
Oh, I know the story.
Yeah. So the cup went missing. That was like my Achilles heel. I hated losing sippy cups. And it seemed like it always happened. It's like losing socks. It's like losing Tupperware lids. Losing a sippy cup, they're not that cheap to replace. And you get certain kinds that you like. And oh my God. So we lost the sippy cup. And I looked all over the apartment for it. Could not find it anywhere. And just gave up and got you a new sippy cup. And about 2 weeks later, she still slept with me and her father at the time, just because she was
the way that
the only
sounded,
child.
That makes it sound like I have a different father now. Like the way you phrase it sounds like her father at the time.
Yeah, okay. My bad. Her bio dad. How about that?
No, but you know what? It wasn't like the word choice. It was the like phrasing of the sentence.
Oh, at the time, she was still sleeping
right.
with. Thank you for my grammatical lesson. She was sharing a bed with us still on occasion. Most of the time, actually. She had a bed in her room. She only used it for naps on occasion. But so her room was basically her playroom. And that persisted for many, 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 many years. But this particular time, she came stumbling out of her playroom. Now, she had had some febrile seizures around this time too. So I was terrified that she had some kind of lingering damage from being like without oxygen for a certain amount of time. And it was scary. Those moments were scary. She'd had 2 separate, like 2 weeks apart. And we had gone to the ER. She got an ambulance ride on the first time. And yeah, totally cool, Hannah. During an ice storm, no less, in Oklahoma. That was great. But so she comes stumbling out of her room and I'm like, the heck? And so I freaked out. And she was she was acting okay, except she was giggly and, like more giggly than usual and whatever. And then I got a whiff of her breath, and it smelled like she had been hitting the sauce. Like, hitting the sauce. And I was like, what in the world? So I panicked, because I wasn't a big drinker, but my ex, her father, used to drink beer and things like that. So I was like, did she get a hold of a rogue beer bottle or something, right? And I freaked out. And so I went into her room because that's where she'd been. And right there on the floor was that missing sippy cup with basically
apple wine,
90 proof apple wine inside it. It was horrific. was like, my baby is drunk. Oh my God, I'm a horrible parent. I was like, I should have just persisted. I should have persisted and found that stupid cup. Ian did something similar, but it was with a milk cup. So if you can imagine that. And he still loves cheese, so I don't understand. But yeah, anyway. That was like a horrible story that came up this week. Horribly funny. Oy. But yeah, so we lived all over, as she said. Let's see, let's count it. So you were born in Texas. Mm-hmm. Shortly thereafter, we moved to Oklahoma.
Georgia.
And then from there, we moved to Georgia. And from there, we moved to Germany. From there, we moved back to Texas.
And then we moved somewhere else in Texas, right?
Yeah, we moved several times within Texas. Then we moved to Maryland. Mm-hmm. And then back to Texas. And now to California.
Yeah.
So she's lived some places. Exciting stuff. She's always been very adaptable in that way. Like you would think, she tells it differently, but from my perspective as her mom, I never saw, I mean, yes, I saw stress and stuff when we would move places and some like doubting herself and whatever, but then she would like toss her hair back and check her nails and just kidding. Lizzo moment. She would, you know, just walk in and own the joint because that's just the kind of personality she is. And, you know, if even to this day, like when she first started her college classes, which were all online because of COVID, you know, she was nervous as all get out and whatever behind the scenes. But when that camera went on, you'd hear, "Hi, my name's Hannah," you know, like super perky and whatever. And even if it's all a ruse, she puts people at ease around her because of that. Like, I think that's how you get people to like you, you know? And it's effortless seeming. I know that's not effortless because I know you've got the anxiety and things like that. Damn genetics.
I think I'm an empath. I think it's part of it.
Yeah.
Like I kind of feel the energy around people. I'm like, okay, so if I want to be friends with these people, I have to be more energetic or I have to be more
adaptable. That's what I was saying.
Yeah.
Being an empath is being able to adapt to your surroundings and your people around you.
I mean, I think I don't want to like self-diagnose.
Girl, right. You self-diagnose everything.
Dude, I know, but self-diagnosis can be very helpful.
That's true. Well, at least you are aware. And if you're like me, who went out of nursing school at age 19 and has been in the medical field most of your life and is now not in the medical field but can still school a doctor on what's wrong with you. Done it. True story.
Speaking of self-diagnosis, it's not like I'm being like, oh my God, I have pneumonia, or I have bronchitis, or I have a tumor. Although I have thought I've had a tumor a couple of times just because I'm like, my head hurts. And then I'm like,
it's called a headache.
It's called, I haven't worn my glasses for the last hour and a half.
It's called there's smoke in the air because it's California. Yeah,
anyway, I've been taking a lot of ADHD tests lately, and that's...
Yeah.
I probably need to speak to a doctor.
I read a thing recently to both you and your brother that when I was reading it alone, I was like, holy shit. Both of my children have ADHD and are possibly on the spectrum somewhere.
Like high functioning.
Totally high functioning. Like not Asperger's, not...
That we missed it.
Yeah. Well, about your brother, it's funny because there was a time when he was really little that he would line up his toys. And that's like a classic sign of pending autism or whatever. And your father was always like, we have to get him tested. And I was like, he's fine. And he's fine. He's definitely not. Mm-hmm. But now, I mean, when he was a little kid, he was still like super like bubbly and talkative and would talk to anybody, right? But now he's a little more introverted and, you know, whatever.
It depends on what he's talking about.
That's true.
Anyway, it is a spectrum.
Right, of course.
It's just like sexuality. It's a spectrum.
Yeah. So, it could very well be. But the fact that you've looked into ADHD, because it makes a lot of sense. Like, there's a lot of stuff.
It is also different for girls and boys.
Yeah. Another YouTuber was diagnosed last year with ADHD, and she's like in her 30s. Mm-hmm. And to hear her describe herself and things that she's done her whole life and never put two and two together until she was, you know, in the confines of quarantine and was like facing herself, like for real, you know, I think that's similar to what's going on here.
Anyway, I need to speak to a doctor and get actually diagnosed if I do have it.
Guess what? You're over 18. You should call them yourself. But yes, birthdays have always been important to you, especially. But I mean, even me, I used to count down the days till my birthday. But
it's a day where everyone is forced to like pay attention to you.
Yeah, exactly. Hopefully. So I read some facts about birthdays in general. I was going to start with this, but we jumped right into you. Did you know that birthdays, the celebration of birthdays didn't actually start until calendars were created by the Egyptians?
That makes sense.
It does, but you didn't think some Egyptian popping out a baby and the mom's like, I will always remember this day, the day of blah, blah, blah. You know?
I mean, you may always remember the day, but if you don't know what day it is, right? If you don't have a concept of like, today is Monday.
That's true.
The blah, 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 and blah, blah, blah.
Blah, 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 blah.
You know what I mean? You could be like, oh yes, my baby. You've been around for a little bit.
But even when they did create calendars, birthdays were only celebrated because of pharaohs. They would celebrate pharaoh birthdays, which makes sense to you.
I've also read somewhere that birthdays were just a celebration of making it a year.
Yeah. Well, something I've learned being a BTS lover is that in Korea, you are officially 1 year old when you're born. Like the day you're born, you're one. And then everybody celebrates the new calendar year as that's when you turn the next age, which is interesting. It's not you still celebrate your day of birth, but you're already that age according to them. I thought that was interesting too.
Well, that makes sense.
I mean, I guess.
Well, because they follow a lunar calendar.
That's true, but still, it's just like, I don't know. But did you know that Germans invented the traditional birthday cake?
They invented everything, so yes.
They did not invent everything.
They invented most things. America is largely a Germanic culture.
I agree. Ian would be interested in that. Because he was born in Germany. He thinks he's German, and...
We don't have an inch of German in us.
No. Not even an ounce.
No, not even a gram.
Not a blink of
Not
German.
the...
No. Not even a little bit.
No.
But because he was technically born on American soil, because he was born on an American base.
He could still be president if he wanted to.
Yep.
God help us if he ever is president.
But he's got a really cool birth certificate. It's a consulate birth certificate. It's a lot of pressure on a parent to have a baby overseas because they tell you, do not lose this because it's very difficult to get another one. Whoa, okay. Better believe I still have that thing.
Do you still have my original birth certificate?
Not your original, but I've got a certified copy. Do I have your social security card anymore? No. Do I know where it is? I thought I did, but no. I have no idea. At least I know your number. I've got that memorized.
I don't even know my number.
You ask me all the time, and I can tell you.
I can probably search for it in our text messages.
Oh, we don't do that on text messages. That's very, very not safe.
Oh, no. Of course not.
Ay. Okay.
Is that it for the stories?
No.
Oh.
We're just trying to think of some others. It doesn't matter. Do you have a story you'd like to, a remembrance that you would like to tell? Sorry, I have another one. It just came to me really quickly. I jotted it down up here of these questions I'm going to ask you later.
What's the story about?
It's about a spider.
Oh, I was thinking about an easel.
A what?
An easel?
Oh, yeah, you can tell that story. Maybe that'll be one of the things you go, no, that's not a silly thing. Yeah. So, do you want to tell your easel story first, or shall I tell your spider story first?
Wait, how about you tell the easel story, I tell the spider.
No,
as we remember it.
Okay, let me tell the spider story as it was, and then you can tell your version, because...
I honestly don't remember it. So.
Okay, well, good. Because... in the easel story, I wasn't there. I only got the medical end of it. So... Hannah really got into some antics in Germany. To be fair, she was 3 years old when we moved there and 5 when we left. When we first moved there, I didn't work. So we were just at home together, and
That's where the Friends knowledge comes from.
Yeah, that's when she binged Friends all the time. It was so sad when it happened. So basically it started snowing the week we arrived in Germany, which was in November, Thanksgiving week, November of 2015. And then...
No.
Oh, 15. What the heck? 2005. Wow. I added 10 years onto that bad boy.
Yes, I was 3 years old 7 years ago.
You're so mature for your age. Anyway, 2005. So it started to snow, and at first it was really cool, and then it wasn't anymore because we're from the South and it doesn't snow very often there, and it was just not something that I was used to being in. And when we were living on an Air Force base, and so when you're looking at me funny. Your dad was in the Army, but we lived in Air Force housing on base. So,
okay.
It's just she gave me a look, so I had to explain. Anyway, but when you live on base and the road conditions get bad, they will lock it down. Like, you are not supposed to be in your car on a street anywhere. Like, you're supposed to walk everywhere or don't leave at all, right? And where we were located, Launchstoel, we were like on top of a mountain, so we really were not leaving to go anywhere. That was scary stuff, right? So, but we lived really near the hospital. And the hospital was like it was a hospital, but it had clinics. It was all attached to it.
Well, it was a military hospital at base, so it had to be big.
It had a food court.
It had a Burger King.
Yes. This particular thing involves Burger King. But we had been locked down for the better part of a week with black road conditions, meaning you were not to be out in a car at all. And we were running out of groceries. And it was a Sunday and literally couldn't leave the base to go to the grocery store. So I thought, let's bundle up and trudge through the snow and go to the hospital and walk all the way to the Burger King and eat Burger King. So I said the words Burger King to her, and she was like, Burger King, yes, let's go to Burger King. I'm so excited.
Little fat girl that I was.
You did love your nuggets. So we bundled up scarves, boots, coats, the whole works. They had plowed the sidewalk to like midway point, and then we had to like walk on top of the snow to the actual entrance to the hospital. It was a process. It probably took 30 minutes to do a 10-minute walk because it was that bad.
I was also 3?
3. I don't want to go. Burger King. Oh, okay, let's go. Right. So we get in, we get inside the hospital, we, bang all the ice and snow off of our bodies and try to get dry feet so we don't slip and fall. Go all the way to the food court, and it's closed. I forgot that they closed the food court at 5 p.m. on Sundays. And the poor baby cried. Not only had we had a traumatic experience getting over there.
Did I fall?
You didn't fall. No, you didn't fall. But you didn't want to walk, and I could not carry you. That was not happening. And yeah.
I have a vague remember of falling in snow.
I'm sure you did.
I was little.
Well, that was only one story. But so they had a little convenience store right across the way. They were open. So we loaded up on juice and cookies and, candy and whatever else I could appease your little mind with. And then we walked over to where the actual cafeteria was. And they had the dregs. It was the last bit of food left for the food service. It was terrible. And I felt so bad. And then I was like, excuse me, the snow has to end. It's got to end. But it literally snowed. We did not have a snow-free day where there was melting or anything for November, December, January, February, March. 5 months. And that's when my wintertime blues kicked in. I hated winter after that. It was really novel for the first week or so. And then it was done. Terrible.
Are you going to tell the spider story?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'd like to.
Okay, I'm going to go now with the easel.
Okay.
You have to edit this, so.
Yeah, I'm editing this week because that's my gift to her.
I mean, in addition to some other things, right?
I mean, maybe.
Okay.
Yes, you have gifts, Hannah.
Okay, cool. Good. So when we were in Germany, when she started working, and she was pregnant with Ian, I think, I was in a daycare preschool situation.
They're on base.
And we were playing hide and seek or tag or something outside. And they had this whole, like, playground, like a painting area, and just, like, it was very much like a playground meant for little kids, right? And I was running, and I looked behind me to see if anybody was chasing me still. And I came smack dab in contact with an easel.
A corner of a metal easel.
Right
in my eyebrow.
On the forehead. Like, corner of the forehead. And just like, yeah, I still have a little scar. Just like blood gush. I'm assuming blood gushing, because...
Yes.
And then you were working, so Dad had to come and pick me up. And...
Well, I got a phone call at work to meet them at the emergency room, because I worked at the hospital. And I was like, oh my God, I was newly in that job too. I don't think I'd been there 2 weeks. I was panicked, went down there. Of course, I beat them there because I worked in the hospital. And when he rolled up, he had to go back to work. So he left me there with you, freaking out. And it was not, I mean, it was bad, but it wasn't so bad that, I mean, okay, let me backtrack. It was bad. The doctor that was on duty, though, was this, like, Air Force colonel, old man, like, crotchety attitude, like, terrible bedside manner, especially for little kids. And she was terrified of needles. Like, she didn't want a shot. She didn't want stitches, whatever. She didn't want needles anywhere near her. And the dude was not being kind. Like, he was not calm enough to deal with my baby, right? So after she flipped out, like, no, don't touch me. He finally was like, well, to me, he was like, we can try to glue it together with Dermabond, but where it is and her age, I don't know that it'll work. It may tear open. She may have a horrible scar. And, she didn't know what scar meant. She didn't give a crap. She didn't want any needles near her face at all. So they did Dermabond it, and it's not a bad scar. I mean, it is a scar.
They did butterfly,
and a butterfly bandage over it just to keep it together. But yeah.
It was it's gotten better as I've gotten older. It was pretty.
Yeah, it used to be pretty substantial. But, yeah.
What's life if you don't come out of it with a couple of scars and bruises?
Daycare was really fun for her because I got so many stories. As she said, I was pregnant with her little brother at the time, and I had let the daycare know that I was pregnant before Hannah even knew, because I didn't want them, I can't remember the reasoning behind it. I wanted them to know just in case or something, because I had lost a baby before I got pregnant with Ian, and I just wanted them to know in case somebody needed to come pick her up someday or, whatever. That was strange. But so her teacher knew, and she was very sweet and, like, very supportive, but I was like, we haven't told Hannah yet. We're waiting till we get past a certain point. We don't want her to have to experience the trauma that we had just experienced 3 months before or 4 months before. And, when we finally did tell her, I have a cute video of that, but I haven't shared that anywhere. Maybe I will.
I broke a plastic, like, phone because I dropped it.
Yeah. She's very dramatic in the film. It's really fun.
I think it's a girl.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure it's a doll, she says, with her little speech impediment.
Like, it's a boy. No, I'm pretty sure it's a girl.
But it's a brother. That's okay, right? No, because I said Mama's pregnant, and her dad says, "Do you know what that means?" And she goes, "What does it mean, Daddy?" Like, in the sweetest little voice. But no, me being there and knowing, she knew exactly what it meant. She was just performing for the camera. Anyways, it's funny. I should share that because I'm going to share some other stuff on the Facebook page, but it's a cute video.
Anyway, I also remember another story.
I haven't finished. that part about daycare.
Yeah.
So when I got pregnant with Ian, we waited a while to tell her, and when we finally told her, she started asking all kinds of questions during the weeks, shortly thereafter, like, how did the baby get in your belly, Mommy? And, she's 4 at this time, she's 4.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, well, and her father chimed in with a not so great phrase for a little 4-year-old.
From a 50 Cent song, right?
Yeah, he said, well, Daddy put it there with his magic stick.
I'm the love doctor.
Exactly. So I was like, and we laughed, and she's like, oh, okay. And like moved past it, right? The very next morning, we were eating lunch together on our balcony, and she said, Mommy, guess what? And I was like, what, Hannah? She says, I'm going to have a baby. I have a baby in my belly, too. And I was like, you do? She was like, yes. My husband put it there with his magic stick. I was like, no. So
hey, but I knew you. But I was like, you gotta be married.
Right.
You gotta be married.
Right. So I had to, at 4 years old, describe to her a little more about what the birds and the beads actually was. Describe what the magic stick might be and whatever. That wasn't actual magic. There was science involved. And so she knew very early on the sort of mechanics of it. I didn't go into great depth and detail. Guess who went to her preschool and told all her friends how babies were made?
Oh, I was that kid.
Yes, you were. You were that kid. And it's funny because after, it was purely like innocent and whatever, her teacher laughed about it, but she told me, maybe you give us a heads up next time that you described to her just in case. Like, yeah, same thing with like Santa Claus and crap like that. Like when she had a little brother at that time. So when she started not believing in Santa Claus, I had to say things like, now don't go to kindergarten and tell everyone, don't tell your little brother. So, and the dog's barking. Magic, it's magic. You just let people believe what they're going to believe. And
I didn't stop believing in Santa Claus till I was like 9.
Well, anyway.
10.
It's like, don't just keep the magic alive. Wow.
So, now that we've kind of gotten the stories out of the way, Mom has compiled a list of questions that she has thought of and other people have asked, and she's going to ask me, because we kind of do this usually on the first day of school, but I guess we're doing it on my birthday this year.
Yeah. All right, question number 1. What got you in the most trouble when you were little?
I honestly don't know. I feel like I didn't get in a lot of trouble.
From my perspective, you didn't get into a lot of trouble, but being sassy or hiding things like food, or not taking no for an answer when mostly it was food related, which is really sad to say, but it's true. Like, used to hide. I would say
I had a little bit of a hoarding problem.
No more fruit snacks, and then I would go help you clean your room 5 months later and find probably a box worth of fruit snack wrappers buried under her bed and stuff. Yeah. You also used to pick at things, not like your skin or whatever, but used to pick the wall, used to pick the hem of a dress, used to pick a hole into your sheets. You're a picker. Which may be part of the ADHD.
And anxiety.
Yeah. Exactly.
Manifesting as...
Yeah.
Isn't that crazy? Like, we were fine with food, right? Like, there was never an issue. Like, we always had enough.
Yeah.
We never starved, but I still had, like, a food problem.
Honestly, though, so this is maybe TMI for the world, but Hannah has a condition called goiter, and it hasn't been monitored in a very long time. So I kind of feel like, it's a thyroid-related thing. So I think maybe you just had control issues as far as, like, you were hungry. You were genuinely hungry. I mean, even when she was a baby, I would feed her, and then I would have a meal, and she thought she had to have my meal too, and I'd feed her more, and because I don't know how to say no either. So, but I really, when you think retrospectively, like and you were always ahead of the curve growth-wise and whatever. So you probably were born with the thyroid condition.
Yeah.
But oddly enough, when we've had levels drawn on you, like...
When I hurt my back.
When you hurt your back, your thyroid was fine. So, again, I just think...
I think it was just a growth issue.
Yeah. But that's...
I think I was just ahead of the curve hormonally. Sorry if it's TMI. But, you know what I mean? Like, I probably had a bunch of, like, hormones that...
Oddly enough, though, we had to go to a specialist when we were in Maryland for the goiter and endocrinologist, pediatric endocrinologist. And they said, you know, because of your development and you were advanced in development at 9 years old, that your female time would be coming sooner rather than later.
Mm-hmm. You can just say period, it's fine.
I know, but okay. You might start menstruating before
That's
your peers.
A little too far.
So we called it Red Alert. We were on Red Alert, and that was kind of, we joked it. But yeah, and then she freaking started her period when she was supposed to, like 12 years old. Yeah. So that was stressful though, because I was like, oh crap, how I can barely get her to wipe her own butt. How am I going to teach her how to use feminine products? You know what I mean? I mean, that's a stressful moment as a mom. I hope you never have to experience it.
That doctor also said to put me on a diet or something too. Yeah.
Which,
I get it.
But then this may be a failure as a mother, but all of my life as a mom of you as your mother, I have resisted medical advice on certain things. Like when we had to get medical clearance to move to Germany, we went to a doctor in Georgia, and it was a military doctor, and he said, she was 2.5, turning 3. He said that you had a speech impediment, which you did, which we all knew about, but you had a speech impediment. You needed speech therapy, and you were heavier than kids your age. You were well above average, way in the 90th percentile and whatever, and that you probably needed to be put on a diet. You were 2.5, and you didn't eat like crap. You didn't.
I just ate a lot.
And not even that. You just
put it on.
You were healthy, You were healthy. And this dude was like fat, and he had a speech impediment. And I looked him in the face, and I was like, are you serious right now? You're going to tell me that my daughter, I gave you room to outgrow the speech impediment, and you did. Same thing with dentists saying that, the gap in your teeth would never close. Guess what? It did.
But now, whole other set of dental issues.
That's genetic, and I'm sorry, but it's not my fault. You can blame everyone before me. But seriously, back to the question, hiding, it was mostly hiding food. That got my ire raised the most with you.
Yeah, that's probably.
And just being messy in general.
Mm-hmm. Back into that now.
Yeah, unfortunately.
So if I get a ADHD diagnosis after this episode and I talk about it, everyone's like, where'd that come from? Listen to this episode.
Cause... Now you know. Yep. The dots are being connected. Mm-hmm. Okay, so what's the silliest thing you've ever done? Oh, I know.
Oh, wait, hold on. Give me a minute. Because I'm trying to think. I mean, my whole, middle adolescence, before I was a teenager, was pretty silly. Doing all sorts of silly things. I can't think of any specifics.
Okay, so this is where I'm going to share the spider story. So, again, a Germany story. I was heavily pregnant with Ian. I worked all day long, went and picked her up from daycare, went home. We lived in a 4-story, townhouse type situation. And our bedrooms and everything were on the 3rd level of this thing. And her bedroom was on the 4th level. It was like the whole top floor, kind of a loft, attic-y, it was a cool space. Like, now living there, that would be your dive, right? But, it was just her toy room, because she slept on a mattress pad on the bedroom floor, my bedroom floor, because she couldn't be away from me.
It was also upstairs and pretty scary.
Yeah, and you could have easily fallen down those stairs. Like, if you ever sleptwalked or something, it would be bad. So anyway, she was very bubbly, very energetic after school, and I was just not. I was so pregnant, and I was so, like, tired and whatever. So I just wanted to take a quick nap or just lay down and rest my body for a little bit before I fixed dinner. And I told her, go upstairs and play, please. Go upstairs and play with your dolls and your toys. Mommy just needs to take a little rest. Yeah, okay. Blah, 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 all the way up the stairs, talking to herself and talking to her dolls and having the best time. And I could hear her, but literally I wasn't going to sleep. I was just like relaxing and resting. All of a sudden, I hear this blood-curdling scream. Like, ah! High-pitched, like, holy shit. But because I'm heavily pregnant and couldn't possibly jump up and couldn't possibly have the energy to run up the stairs, called out, "Are you okay?" And she said, "There's a spider!" And I was like, frickin' frack. "Is it a big one?" And she goes, "It's huge!" Shit. So, I think, okay, what can I do? I'm like, "Is there a shoe up there?" Yes. I said, "Okay, get the shoe and hit the spider with the shoe. You think you can do that?" "Yes, Mommy." So in a minute, I hear, whack, 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 whack. And I said, "Did you get it?" "Yes." I'm like, "Great." And then she goes, "Now it's on the bottom of my shoe." And I was like, "Get a Kleenex and bring it to me and I'll clean it off." So she comes carefully down the stairs with a piece of toilet paper or something. And when she walks into the room, she has a Barbie doll high heel. And the tiniest spider you can ever imagine impaled on the heel of that shoe. And I was like, what the heck? That was the funniest. That's still one of my favorite stories because that's the drama, y'all. That's the drama we're talking about because it's a huge spider. It was about the size of not even a pea, like a lentil. Like tiny.
A legume.
Like a teeny
piece of rice.
Yeah, a piece of rice. It was teeny tiny. How she impaled it on the tip of that heel, I'll never know.
Hand-eye coordination.
Well, not very, because you were like, whack, 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 like 10 times in a row. Also, I like to joke, she's so smart. She's so smart. But she has some blonde moments. No offense to blondes listening to this, but she does have some very silly blonde moments, including, but not limited to,
if you say
watermelons. She was eating watermelon at my mom and dad's house.
I'm not an agriculturist. I'm not a farmer. How was I supposed to know? I was taught that fruits grow on trees, right? I was taught that.
She said, "I love watermelon. I wish we had a watermelon tree."
I was taught fruits grow on trees except for grapes and strawberries.
And tomatoes.
Tomatoes are technically a vegetable, and the reason they're technically a vegetable, fruit, whatever, is because they have seeds on the inside, so it's a fruit. But they grow on the ground, so technically it's a vegetable.
Technically they grow on a vine. It just happens to be sometimes they're on the ground, sometimes they're up on a vine.
Anyway, I'm not a farmer, okay?
But picture it, okay? Picture a watermelon, like a big-ass watermelon. Like
coconuts?
Yeah, okay. But coconuts are not the size of watermelons.
Some can be.
Whatever. That's just my favorite thing. She gets very offended, obviously, by the watermelon.
I was 9! I was 9!
It's so funny.
It's not like it happened yesterday.
I'm sure I'm gonna start keeping a journal of silly crap
I'm just gonna out myself on this one.
Okay.
My hair, right? Mm-hmm. The other day, I put a scrunchie in it. I made a ponytail. And I was flinging... my hair is pretty long now, so I was just kind of moving my head back and forth to feel that, like, the sensation of my hair running across my back, right? You know what you do when you have long hair and you put it in a ponytail and you're just like, whoosh, swoosh, swoosh.
I said earlier, she's a hair swisher.
And I was like, oh, it's like I'm swinging my hair like it's a horse's tail. And then I stopped and I was like, wait a minute. And then I was like, I just got it.
That's why they call it a ponytail.
And Mom was just like,
You're
tell me you're
right?
joking.
I was like, you're kidding
Tell me you're joking.
You have to be joking with me right now. But I don't know why anybody would just...
Spoiler alert, audience. She was not joking. How was I supposed to know, right? Who told me? A lot of these things...
You are a horse girl.
I am.
You play a game and you watch that pony's tail swishing as it rides away.
I only have one pony.
It doesn't matter. It's got a tail, right?
Yes.
You watch it running and swishing.
Yes.
You literally look at a horse's butt all day long with the ponytail swinging.
I haven't played the game in a while.
Okay.
But listen, a lot of the blonde moments are because nobody told me. They just assume I know. Well, which is one of my biggest pet peeves when it comes to, like, school, is, like, how am I supposed to know this, right?
Well, some stuff you just are supposed to observe. I don't remember learning about ponytails. They were just called ponytails, and I knew they were called ponytails. And then I was like, because ponies have tails, and they are gathered together like this. It's kind of a common sense thing.
But you had that realization, too. You probably just had it when you were younger. Right? Yeah. So I still stand by my...
Okay. It's just funny. It's a funny story. And you were laughing, too, when it came to you, because you were like, oh, shit. Like, you knew, crap, this is probably something I should have known already. But I am almost 19, and I just discovered that ponytails are called ponytails because ponies have tails that look like these.
Yeah.
Yeah. So funny. Okay.
To be fair, though, when has my hair been long enough, in recent memory, where I've had it long enough to be a long, swishing ponytail?
What did you call that hairstyle on anyone?
A ponytail.
Okay, so you called it a ponytail. Yeah. It just did not occur to you it was called ponytail. Because...
Yeah, I called it a ponytail because it's what everyone around me called it.
Okay.
It's like calling the individual, like, rubber bands ponytail holders.
Yeah, which is not something that a lot of people do. I think our family does.
I think that's a Southern thing.
Yeah. Comment on this if you call hair ties, because that's what most people call them, hair ties, ponytail holders.
I think I call the actual rubber bands just ponytails. I think I do. I don't. Right? If I'm just saying it like, oh yeah, I got some ponytail, whatever.
I don't know. Okay. So next question: what's your favorite family tradition?
All time, I think going to look at Christmas lights. We didn't do that this year, but I think that's one of my favorite.
We were going to do it. Like, I was making a point to do it because we weren't doing anything else. We weren't having a big Christmas. Mm-hmm. But then we just didn't. It's hard for me, too, having older kids that seem not to care about anything. You parents of teenagers know what I'm talking about. And then when it doesn't happen, it's like, oh, I thought we were going to blah. So, I guess our code word this week should be blah. Anyways, okay, cool. What's your favorite dessert?
I think all time is pink stuff, which is basically just marshmallows and strawberries.
And cottage cheese.
And cottage cheese.
And Jell-O.
And Jell-O, right.
Yeah.
And, like, I think that's my all-time favorite. It's a very Southern...
Yeah,
it's like
every family.
It's like ambrosia salad, but without all the extra fruit. It's literally just marshmallows, strawberries, Jell-O,
cottage cheese, or maybe something else. Cool Whip.
Cool Whip.
Yeah.
Nana's doesn't have cottage cheese.
Really?
Because I made it for Thanksgiving one year, and I didn't put cottage cheese in it.
We need to get that recipe then. I mean, not that
I have it.
Okay.
Anyway, so I think pink stuff. But I also like your, like, Easter dessert you make, like the parfait.
I make a trifle. It all started when I wanted to make a trifle for Easter, but I found it was Pinterest. I saw a dessert that had peeps, the little chicks. Actually, no, was it the chicks or the bunnies? I saw on top. Anyway, it had peeps on top. I traditionally hate peeps. I hate them.
They're gross.
Passion. So I was shopping for a different flavor and saw these little chicks that they have now. And they had a special flavor at that time, this particular time, like a limited edition flavor. It
was
lemonade. So it was after Alex's lemonade stand. It was like a what's that called?
Collaboration?
No, when you raise money for something.
Fundraiser.
Yes, kind of associate with. I know, my brain's not working. It was a long week. So yeah, they were lemonade flavor, and they were actually really good.
Those ones I think are my favorite
because they're not Peeps. They don't have that crunchy weird.
They don't have the sugar.
Yeah. So anyway, it was lemon cake with cheesecake pudding between the layers. So it's lemon cake, cheesecake, lemon cake, cheesecake. Pudding, and then those Peeps arranged on the top, and it was delicious. It was a huge hit. And then the next year, couldn't find those Peeps, so I got lemon lime ones, which was basically kind of
those ones were fine.
Yeah, and every year since I've tried to do it, but I've had to like alter it in some way because they don't have the same Peeps. One year I did a tropical punch one.
Those ones were okay.
Yeah.
The latest one you did was white chocolate.
That was not good.
Those were disgusting.
I hated them. They were dipped. Their butts were dipped in white chocolate.
I think if Peeps didn't have that weird sugar, like crystallized sugar on it,
they wouldn't be so bad.
They would, because then they're just marshmallows.
Yeah. I don't know. Are you a Peeps fan or not a Peeps fan? Comment. I
also like the lemon bars you make sometimes.
Yeah. I love lemon bars. I actually have a box of a mix in the pantry right now. I can make some, perhaps.
Cool.
Okay, so if you could eat one thing every day for the rest of your life, what would it be?
Okay, easy answer. Anyone that knows me knows this. Potatoes.
Potatoes. It doesn't matter what.
Because then you can make it any way you want.
Mm-hmm. It can be a meal. It can be a side dish.
Mm-hmm. You can make. Honestly, you can make a lot of things. You can make bread, potato bread. Mm-hmm. You could make. Anything.
Yeah. Cool. You could survive in Ireland in the plague years.
Well, no, because it was a potato famine.
Oh, that's true. So you would not survive.
I would not survive. I'd be an immigrant, just like everybody else.
All right. So next is, if you could live anywhere in the world, where would you live?
Ooh, can I pick more than one?
Sure.
Okay, so New York, London, or not specific London, but just England, Scotland, Paris, if I could speak the language, right? If language and money aren't an issue. And then I think Germany.
Very cool.
Also maybe Greece.
Can I live with you?
Grecian island.
Can I live with you on any of those?
Yes.
Okay, great.
I want to be Donna Sheridan and Mamma Mia and just live and run a hotel on a Grecian island.
Awesome. Well, we could sing all the songs. Very good.
A Mamma Mia themed hotel in Greece. They probably have so many.
They probably have it already. What's your favorite thing about yourself?
Like physically or
anything.
Just... Okay, well. Physically, it's going to sound really stupid and kind of TMI, but I really like my boobs, even though they're small. Right? I really like them.
They're not that small.
I really like them. Right? Like
You're 19. Of course you like them.
No, but... Because I love a Regency era romance, I'm like, I would look amazing in a corset, okay? I would look amazing in a corset. That's all I'm saying.
I need to put you in my wedding corset and see how amazing you look.
Is it a Regency style dress?
It doesn't matter. So the corset is what you're talking about.
No, because you know what I mean? Because then it just like...
up and over, yeah, I know.
And then, like... personality-wise, I think my, like, confidence...
She says not confidently?
Well, no, because I read something that says, if bravery is your courage to do something despite your fear of it, then confidence is believing in yourself even if you have self-esteem issues.
You're very confident. It's, like, probably my favorite thing about you. Just, like, it astounds me, like, I struggled with self-esteem my entire life. And even though
the culture is different,
even though I know that you struggle with self-esteem too, you're like your own worst enemy, you know. But when you're confident, it's like, girl, it blows my mind. It blows my mind. So it's a good one. Okay, what is something you're really good at?
I'm really good at listening to people, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Like, when they need to be listened to.
Mm-hmm.
I'm really good at comforting people.
Mm-hmm.
I'm very much like an unpaid, untrained therapist sometimes.
Yeah. Which is, I'm that way too. But it's good too because when you give those types of supports to people,
They tend to give them back.
They tend to give them back, and that's how I feel.
And then I think I'm not the best. I'm pretty good at doodling, just being able to just make whatever artsy.
I like your digital drawings you've been summoning up lately.
The 2 I've done in the last 2 days.
What job would you never want to have?
Never? Okay, well, I never want to work in fast food. No disrespect to all my fast food people. I couldn't do it. I would never want to be a lawyer either. Just because I think I'm pretty good at arguing, but I feel like if they started coming at me, like you see some of those lawyers, they'd be like, "Whoa, okay, I'm sorry,
Yeah,
exactly. I'm being paid to defend this guy. Okay, it's not like I believe he's innocent."
Right? Yeah, that would be bad. I love it. Okay, if someone gave you $50, what would you do with it?
I'd probably put it in my bank account if I had nothing immediately I wanted to do.
Yeah. It's a proud mama moment. She cracks me up. We've talked about this before in other episodes, but she's really good at just sitting on top of her money and until she decides what she wants. No, if she decides what she wants, it doesn't matter if it's something, 5-pound bag of gummy bears that she's going to blow the last $15 on. She'll do it.
But I also am if I have like less than like $200 in my bank, like less than like 180 or something, I'm like, okay, I'm just gonna like
cruise. Yeah.
Because I have subscriptions to keep up.
Yeah. What's the worst smell in the world?
Okay. Eggs. Or chicken salad.
Because it has eggs. Oh, and boiled chicken.
And boiled chicken.
Which is funny because I made chicken salad the other day with boiled eggs.
Okay, boiled chicken, it's basically, because Peppy, our youngest dog, had stomach issues for a little bit, and we were feeding her rice and cottage cheese and boiled chicken. The smell of boiled chicken makes me want to never eat chicken again.
Which I think that's so funny because I love the smell of boiled chicken.
It's so gross.
I love the smell of boiled chicken because of chicken dumplings. When you're making chicken and dumplings, a traditional chicken and dumpling, you boil a whole chicken. Plucked, of course, but a whole chicken, and then you take out the carcass and you shred all the chicken off the bone. And
I also don't like the smell of fish. Fresh fish is fine. But like frozen fish at the grocery store smells disgusting.
Cool.
One of the barriers into me not eating seafood.
What tasks do you hate doing?
Tasks? Like what kind of tasks?
Any. Like cleaning or just mundane tasks that you have to do?
I don't really like doing dishes. I'll do them if I have to. But if I can push it off on somebody else, I'll push it off on somebody else. I also really dislike writing essays.
Which is probably why she's going to put college on hold for a while. That's funny. But what's funny is you're good at it. You don't think you are, but once it's all said and done, you're good at it. Like
writing essays?
Yeah. The ones I've read, pretty spot on. But today, for example, she's talking about an essay that's due soon, and she's like, I've got the intro written and the conclusion. I just got to piece the middle together. I'm like, oh my God.
Well, the introduction and conclusion are basically the same thing.
Yeah, it's just restating the... Yeah. Okay, who was your first celebrity crush?
Probably Zac Efron.
Yep.
Before I even knew what
crushes were.
Yeah.
Oh, he's cute.
Yeah. The first female was the cartoon Catwoman in Arkham Asylum.
Nice.
She's hot.
Who's your current celebrity crush?
Okay.
Who's my future son or daughter-in-law this week?
No current female celebrity crushes, but Chris Evans, Henry Cavill, Sam Heughan.
She likes older men, guys.
I do. And
Which
then
is funny.
Tom Holland, but he's like the internet's celebrity crush right now. And then Tom Hiddleston.
Oh, yes, Tom Hiddleston. Mm-hmm. We share some of those, which is strange as a mother-daughter, but whatever. So those are the last of my questions.
Okay.
But
all right,
we have some questions from the gamut, from the crowd,
from the peanut gallery,
from the peanut gallery, from the listenership, from our fans. They have to be our fans.
The hotties. I don't know.
Oh yeah,
room temp.
I get it.
I don't know. Comment below if you like the hotties
the
or
degrees. We need a name for you guys.
I like hotties.
The hotties.
What's up, hotties?
What up, hotties? How's our? Oh, I don't know.
How's our degree fam? But that degrees just doesn't. Because then we're gonna get to a point where like we have 98 degrees.
We have 99 degrees on our Facebook page. We need one more like.
We need to come up with a name.
We'll think on it.
Suggest some names.
Yeah, what should we call you, our listeners, our fans? Yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah.
Moving on.
So, a couple of questions for you from our listeners.
Yes.
First up is Paul from England. Hannah just burped. That was fantastic.
You're editing it, so take it out, bit.
I'm not gonna do it. Okay, so Paul asked, have you ever met anyone famous?
I do not think so.
I have, but this is about you, so I'm not going to talk about it. We can talk about it next week.
I honestly don't think I've ever met anyone famous.
You have vicariously through me because when I worked at the military hospital, we had celebrities come to our floor to meet injured soldiers all the time, and you don't know who these people are, so that's why
I don't think
you.
I honestly think if you meet someone famous and you don't know who they are,
or you don't remember it,
it doesn't count. Well,
I met John Popper from Blues Traveler, from those of you that survived the 90s intact. You know who that is. I met the Beach Boys, the surviving Beach Boys. Wilmer Valderrama.
You met John
McCain when he was running for president. I met a slew of people, but John Popper and Delilah of Delilah radio fame here in the States. She did a late night radio show, like nationwide syndicated. Anyway, we always listened to it because it was the only radio station that came in when we were traveling in the panhandle of Texas to the panhandle of Oklahoma. Yeah. She always did late, I don't know.
Late night, like,
people would call in and say, I'd like to dedicate a song to my wife of 13 years. We've been through so much, and I just want her to know how much I love her. And blah, blah, blah. And she'd like, I have the perfect song for you. And she'd play, the best love song in the world. And it would make sense. Like, she was good. Anyways, Delilah. So they were on the same tour, the USO tour that came through. And we met. So I met John Popper, and he was so nice. And we talked and chatted up. And I was like, I love your music. I was fangirling all over him. And then that night we went out to eat at Ramstein Air Force Base. And at one of the restaurants they had there. And he and Delilah and the group that they were with were there. And he came up to us. And he was like, hello again. He recognized me. Hair toss. And he was like, is this your little girl? And I was like, yeah. So anyway, you met him. You just don't remember. And then Paul asked, who would you like to meet?
Chris Evans, Henry Cavill. I also want to, I want to meet Betty White.
Oh, yes.
And Leslie Jordan.
Oh, yeah.
I want them to play my Southern grandparents in a TV show, right? Like, I want them to just be my, grandparents, right? Like,
and obviously, fictional TV show.
Yes.
Got you. That's funny.
Tell me you wouldn't watch that.
Oh, I would
like
watch
a hot,
the shit out of that.
like a hot in Cleveland, but it's just like me living, like a teenager me living with my like 80-something grandparent.
Oh, that would be badass. I'd love it. Yeah, I like that too. Okay, so Jody, who I went to high school with.
Mm-hmm.
Jeez. There's some drama happening on a game in the living room. What's your 5-year plan now that you've had a year's glimpse into adulthood?
Well, after this semester, I'm going to get a job, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then probably work for a little bit until classes go back. And then I want to be a vet tech, I think. That's pretty solid, but it's like that hesitation, like math and science.
Mm-hmm. I think you'd be good at it. For sure.
At least like the emotional part of it.
Mm-hmm. I know. That's a good
and then,
solid. At least you kind of have some idea.
I also want to be I've wanted to be an interior decorator for the longest time, but every time I've wanted to take a class, it was either too full or the class was canceled and the universes were not putting me
in that path.
It's a sign.
That's cool. All right, so Christina, your California auntie, has a few questions too. She wants to know, what's your most memorable childhood moment?
I can't think of it off the top of my head, right? But I'll have those moments where I'm like, is that when I did this and it was like this and we ate caramel apples and you're like, how do you remember that?
She can't remember things that happened earlier today, but she can remember the weirdest, most random junk from whenever. Yeah. Well, we discussed a lot of stuff that's happened, so you remember a lot of things. Do you remember meeting Ian at the hospital? See, I was wondering about that because you were 5, but yeah.
I remember when Ian bit me and my cuticle got infected.
Oh my gosh, she was like a rabid dog. It was gross. That was gross. Do you remember getting impetigo?
In Stephenville?
Well, it started in Maryland.
Was I the cause of an whatever outbreak?
Impetigo. Oh, so what had happened was you got you had this like itchy patch of something on your upper back between your shoulder blades, kind of below your neck. And and you couldn't reach it to scratch it. And you asked me to scratch it. So I scratched it and then I was like, "Yeah, this is weird. Let me look at it." And it was like blisters. And so I was like, "You got burnt or bitten by something." So I washed it and I put some like ointment on it. And then I put a Band-Aid over it. But because of where it was, we never thought about it again. And your hair was over it. And, we weren't like washing it every day or anything like that. We didn't see it. But this was right at the time when we were moving from Maryland to Texas. So we moved from Maryland to Texas. And it was literally like 3 or 4 weeks later. You were like, my neck itches. And I was like, let me scratch it. So I went to look. And that Band-Aid was there. And I was like, oh my God. And because you could see, like, whatever was underneath it had started spreading.
Oh my God,
outside,
I'm getting itchy.
I know. Outside the confines of the bandage itself. So I took the bandage off, of course. And it was just the gnarliest looking patch of grossness. So scary that I took you to the doctor. Because I felt like a horrible... I keep saying it over and over. I felt like a horrible parent, but just because of where place it was, you stopped complaining about it. We didn't see it anymore, And the doctor was like, "This looks like impetigo. We can treat it with whatever medicine, but it's highly contagious. So don't be alarmed if one of you gets it." And about that time, Ian had a patch on his face. And I was like, "Oh, no." So I just treated him with the same medicine that I was treating you with. And
I remember one time, speaking of illness in Texas, I had, in my head, well, anyway, sorry. So I was in 6th grade, I think, and we used to hang out in the gym in the morning just to keep us all contained. Mm-hmm. And my friend had this, this bag of cough drops, right? He was like, "Do you want one?" I'm like, "Sure." and they were like cherry. They were delicious, right? Like they were delicious.
I think I know.
They were like cherry something,
yeah.
Right? And then I started getting sick, and then in my head I'm like, the universe is punishing me for taking cough drops when I wasn't sick. I was like, Mom, I feel so bad. Can I please stay home? And you're like, yeah, that's fine. The first day. And then the second day I went back to school. I think I felt better. And the third day I was like, I need to go. And you're like, okay, if you stay home today, we're taking you to the doctor. I'm like, okay, take me to the doctor. And I think she was trying to be like, are you really sick or are you just pretending? And then...
Because as a parent, there's nothing worse than taking your kid to the doctor and then saying...
You're fine.
There's nothing wrong with them, or it's a virus.
And so...
Went to the doctor.
I had bronchitis. And I think that was the first moment where I'm like, I didn't know that I was sick, but I'm like, I'm sick, okay? Like, I'm not pretending.
That's really hard, because she never complained about anything, like, when she was little, growing up. Like, she was blind as a bat. I had no idea until we got a vision test back from the school nursing. She failed the vision test miserably.
Twice.
And I was like, she does this. She's known for being dramatic because she did this about reading in kindergarten and first grade. Like, you know, I thought she's just trying to get attention. She wants to come back to the nurse. Like, you know, I was trying to make up anything, but I was like, you know, we never gotten our eyes checked by a doctor. Maybe we should have our eyes checked. Took her to the eye doctor, and he was like, this little girl is blind. Like, oh no. And I felt so bad. I was like, I'm so sorry.
I also remember getting like tonsillitis every weekend when we lived in Maryland.
Yeah, she had tonsillitis so much. We finally got her tonsils out, and she had just watched me, like, you had them out in February. This actually just came up in my memories on Facebook too, but in February, and I had mine out the previous October. And as a grown-up, if you've ever had your tonsils out when you're a grown-up, they tell you do it when you're a kid, because when you're a grown-up, it's hell to recover from.
You can have dairy.
And I literally thought I was gonna die.
It was rough.
I thought, this is how I go. I'm gonna waste away to nothingness with a bottle of Roxasset in my hand, and I could barely even swallow my pain medicine. That's how horrible it was. I couldn't swallow water. I thought, I'm gonna die. And so Hannah had witnessed that, so she was terrified of me getting her tonsils out. I was like, no, you're a kid. It's no big deal. It wound up being a bigger deal than she thought it was going to be after the first day. The first day she still had anesthesia.
I was eating crackers.
She had anesthesia still in her system, and the doctor said, let her eat whatever she wants to eat within reason, just nothing scratchy or hard or harsh or whatever to rip the scabs off. But she wanted crackers. She wanted all this stuff. I was like, Katie, you can't have that. I got pudding. I've got popsicles. She was eating mashed potatoes.
I drank all my delicious V8 juice the first day.
She was consuming. And it was so good that she did, because for the next 8 days after that, she was on death's door. Like, she felt like trash.
I think I think the second day was the worst day.
From days 1 to 5, 2 to 5 were probably really, really bad. 6, 7, 8, you started to be a little bit better when the scab started sloughing off.
Remember, didn't I wake up one night with like blood and was like,
yeah, threw up blood. I mean, it was harsh. It was harsh. But she was lucky. She had pain medicine too, like legit pain medicine. So she slept a lot of the time.
I also got to eat ice cream.
It was great. Ian had his out when we were back in Texas, and they wanted him to just miss 5 days of school, and gave no pain medicine. He was supposed to take Tylenol and Motrin, and it was hell. I pushed and had 5 more days added to it, because I knew from Hannah even having narcotics. She needed that full 2 days.
That's another like instance of living on the East Coast versus South. Not trying to trash the South or anything.
I don't think it had anything to do with that. I think it's just the way the medicine changed, the medical practice changed.
He was also younger than I was when I got mine taken out.
Yeah, a little bit.
They probably didn't want to pump him full of drugs.
He should have. He should have been pumped full of drugs.
He lost a lot.
If not him, me. Because
it was like he lost a lot of weight when like he did it, and then
he took off after that. That's when he started filling out, recovering. Anyways,
I also remember getting my wisdom teeth taken out.
That was recent.
I know. Childhood. I was a
Like, I was before I was
like
18.
15.
Yeah. Okay, so all of the memorable childhood moments are apparently medical.
I remember crying because I couldn't eat a Hawaiian roll. I, like, bit into it. I'm like, ow! And then I just started crying because I was like, I want to eat this bread, but I can't.
Drama. Christina also asked, what has been your most inspiring childhood moment?
I feel like my most inspiring childhood moment stems from something dark.
Okay.
So,
Sure.
So when you and Dad got divorced, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then the first couple months were kind of... I mean, I wasn't there, right? I was with my other set of grandparents in Texas. I wasn't with you, right? And, like, it just felt weird. And I don't know, it just felt weird, right? And coming back, we had a house, we was all, and I was like, okay. And then just watching you just, like, thrive, but looking back on it, not really. I think what makes it inspiring is the, like, hindsight, right? Looking back on it, I'm like, you were keeping it together.
I had to. Yeah, it was rough. It was a rough time. But this is why I love life now more than ever, because, you know, you don't just go through it, you grow through it, right? Mm-hmm. And there's a lot of times, in fact, I've shared stories with Hannah recently, now that she's grown up and everything, of dark things that happened to me, with me, during that time. And she's always like, Mom, I'm so sorry. And she starts crying. And I'm like, no. The tears are gone. That stuff's over. Like, look at our life now. Like, you know, we're thriving and we're living well. And, you know, I'm successful and everybody's happy for the most part. I mean, except for that damn genetic depression shit that everyone's going through. And, you know, all this stuff. But it's definitely, you know, it was a difficult time. But, again, we made it through. We all made it through it. Mm-hmm. And I know my most inspirational time during that time was something that happened with you, where you said to me that sometime, you know, you're like, I didn't share with you the ins and outs of why your father and I were getting divorced, right? Because you were too young, and I wanted you to be able to have a relationship that of your choosing with your dad, and you know, choose your own adventure, right? So I didn't share those things, but one of the things that you said was, I think some people just get along better apart, and, you know, some people just aren't meant to be together. And you were like 10. You're like 10 years old, you know, when all this happened. So I was like, you know, that you were my little insightful thing, you know. I was like, that's so true. Like, and the fact that both my kids, you know, it was devastating in that, you know, life as we knew it was totally different, but then we just took off, right? No looking back. And the last one from Christina is, do you believe in aliens?
Yes.
I knew you did.
Yep. There's, like, it's so ignorant / arrogant to think we're the only human life form, not even human, life forms in the entire universe. Yeah. It's so ignorant. We may be the only life forms in this galaxy.
In this form.
Right. In this galaxy, even. We could be these only, like, walking, talking.
You are a Doctor Who lover, so.
Yes. Sentient.
Yeah.
Human living forms. We could be the only ones in this galaxy. But there's so many galaxies that we don't even know about.
Yeah.
There's no way we're the only.
Yeah. I get you. And then your Mimi, my mom, asked, who's your favorite Mimi? Mimi Rogers.
I really like the meme about
because we spell Mimi like meme.
Like meme. I really like the meme, the newest one, where it's like Harry and Meghan Markle and they're saying something and then it cuts to Oprah being like, what? That's my favorite meme of the moment.
But your favorite Mimi? Mimi. The Mimi in Texas.
Who that is Mimi Rogers?
She was an actress in the 80s and 90s. She was Tom Cruise's first wife. First wife before Nicole Kidman. Yeah, I'll have to look her up. Anyway, and then her real question was, what are your 5 favorite things? Mom, Ian. No? Okay.
Top 10.
Top 10? Oh, I'm in the top 10.
Yeah.
Well, that's good to know.
Favorite? You're not a thing, also. You're a living, breathing human.
I'm the best thing that ever happened to you.
I like whiskers on kittens. Sorry.
Raindrops on roses.
Whiskers on kittens.
Bright copper kettles.
And warm woolen mittens.
Brown paper packages tied up with strings.
These are a few of my favorite things.
Excellent.
No.
And we're done. Just kidding.
Favorite things. I like Legos.
God. I'm laughing because I'm probably not going to edit that out. So, yeah, there's a lot of yelling going on in the living room.
Okay, I like Legos. I like Highland cows.
Duh. Yes.
I like,
Walks on the beach?
is that a thing?
No. Maybe.
I like dolphins.
Mm-hmm.
I like elephants.
Mm-hmm.
And I like giraffes.
Cool. Excellent. All right. So, our hot takes.
I'm gonna go first because it's my birthday.
I guess. It's my birthing day. But go ahead.
Okay. My hot take is birthday cake flavored ice cream / frozen yogurt is the best thing in all of existence. It's so good.
That is an opinion.
Especially the ones where they have cake bits.
Okay, so
It's the best.
I hate the birthday cake flavor trend.
Why?
Because birthday cake... Okay, so the birthday cake thing they're doing is a vanilla cake with colored sprinkles, right? Mm-hmm. How many birthday cakes have you had in your day that were funfetti or birthday cake with sprinkles?
That were mine?
Yeah.
Like 2.
Are you sure?
Yeah, because we had one birthday where it was rainbow themed.
Well, okay. Where it was a rainbow theme. It wasn't a birthday cake theme.
I know, but my birthday cake was funfetti.
Just saying that I've never...
And sour punch toss.
I've never, ever... I don't understand the... I think Pillsbury probably started that.
Well, other people have funfetti cakes.
I know, I'm just saying.
It's a safe flavor option for a birthday cake where you have to feed a lot of people.
I mean, I understand, and it's festive and whatever, but I don't like that they call it birthday cake. That's not birthday cake. Birthday cake to me is chocolate. Or marble. Excuse me, gosh, a hiccup. Or, I don't know. I don't know. That's always perplexed me. I don't get it. But good on you that you like that. Mm-hmm. It grosses me out, though, when you and your brother, first of all, they like really strange combinations in the frozen yogurt places.
Also in Subway sandwiches, but that's neither here nor there.
But they would go, we go to the places where you pick your yogurt flavors and then you put your toppings, and they've got like chocolate and cheesecake flavored yogurt, and then they put gummy bears and Oreo crumbles and cherries, and it's like something vomited on top of their ice cream.
Okay, but to be fair, how often do we go for frozen yogurt?
It doesn't matter.
How often do we have the often do we have the opportunity where we can just go put whatever we want on what we're getting?
You don't, but even if we went every day, that's what you would be doing.
I think I would do it for the first couple of days and then be like, okay, I need some like vanilla flavor profile.
Well, and me, I do things that make sense, like the cheesecake flavored ice cream with strawberries and kiwi on top, or the chocolate peanut butter one with Oreos on top. Or,
to be fair, we haven't had frozen yogurt in a bit.
Matter.
I'm just saying, we haven't had frozen yogurt in a bit, right? So I think in the last time we had frozen yogurt, I was very much in the camp of everything chocolate, everything sugary. I think right now I would do something different than before.
They probably don't even have it right now with COVID.
I think they would. It would just be like, what do you want on it? And they'd put like a scoop.
Yeah. So I guess birthday related. My hot take this week is, my birthday is 3 days before Christmas. And let me tell you, that sucks having a birthday so close to a holiday. it's horrible, especially a gift-giving holiday. So, like, I mean, having your birthday near 4th of July, you know, whatever, I'm sure can be horrible too, because it gets lost in the mix, or you know what your theme for your party is going to be because it's red, white, and blue, bitches. But for me, I was late. I was a couple of weeks late, so my grandma told my mom, this is not this baby's fault that she is born so close to Christmas. So don't ever combine her gifts. Don't ever, you know, whatever. So if the only cake that my mom could get me at the Walmart bakery was poinsettias on it, I would get upset because I didn't want a Christmas themed birthday. I didn't want Christmas things for my birthday. I didn't know.
Jesus stole your thunder.
I mean, I guess. Come on, Jesus. But anyway, it just, over the years, it's obviously gotten less and less impactful, but especially now that I'm a mom, and so I get Mother's Day in May, and, you know, whatever, it's fine. But, you know, back in the day, I just
Jason does pretty good.
He does, yeah. He does really good. Considering. He's still a dude. He has struggles sometimes.
Okay, you're telling me that the Animal Crossing birthday gifts you got this year were fantastic?
This last birthday was the best I'd had in a while. Because I got an Animal Crossing themed Switch, brand new. I had had his old Switch for a while. So that was great. Yeah, I got a lot of good stuff. I'm not complaining. It's not about the gifts for me either.
Remember when I got you Mamma Mia? Because I wanted to watch Mamma Mia.
I do remember that. And also a big pink teddy bear that you also inherited. Yes.
Yeah. It's the thought that counts.
I guess.
I want
thinking about yourself.
But I got you stuff that I would want.
The funny part about that particular story is her saying, Dad, you have to take me to Walmart. We have to get Mom's birthday present. It was really funny. And then it wound up being stuff that she wanted. Hysterical. So yeah. I hope you've learned something fun about our Hannah this week. If you have other questions for her or stuff you want expounded upon, just comment on our podcast. Leave us a voice message on anchor.fm. Or leave us a message on our Instagram page.
Or Facebook.
We're
so close to 100 likes and follows.
Yeah. We've decided we might, might be doing something when we hit 200 followers. Or are we going to say 150? Be conservative.
I think 150.
150 on Facebook and 50 on Instagram?
Yeah, that's pretty good follow.
Okay.
We're pretty close to 40, I think, on Instagram.
Yeah. So, just, you know, if you like what you're listening to, and, you know, tell all your friends. And just come like us on Facebook. We're
also pretty open to suggestions if you want to hear about something.
Yeah. We're kind of open books. Mm-hmm. Just, you know, we're TMI queens. Yeah. So, we talk a lot, too.
I also think that the next episode is going to have to be about astrology, because I can go full deep dive into that.
That would be fun. Then you can do all the research for the week instead of me.
Don't put that in my hands. You know it's going to fall flat because I have undiagnosed ADHD.
I'll stay on top of you all week long. All right, everyone. We hope you have a great week. What?
Code word. We almost forgot the code word. I think it has to be ponytails.
Ponytails.
Or you can either do ponytails or watermelons.
Ponytails and watermelons. How about that?
Yes, ponytails and watermelons is this week's code phrase.
Awesome. Well, happy birthday, Bug.
Thank you.
I love you, oodles and gobs. And
this time, 19 years ago, you were watching We Were Soldiers.
That's right. As of this recording. Mm-hmm. Yep, sure was. Trying to shave my legs for the next day. Because I didn't know what was going to happen.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.